I was a little bit too close.
Oh,
it just fell right out.
Hold on.
Oh my god, everything's like spinning.
That was awesome. Okay, my turn.
Yeah.
Which order?
Yeah.
Can you guys go on it? Don't spin him until he gets high.
So far, this has ended badly twice.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
No, I'm good.
What happened, dude?
I got my leg swept down. I couldn't move in time.
Destroy.
Robert hit you like a linebacker, dude. He just pummeled you. That's amazing.
We talked about sticky faith, right? And how we want to get 5 adults connected to every one student. We want to see students involved in Sunday morning worship and around our church. But the thing is, as we are doing our job as youth pastors to get students connected to the church, to get students connected to adults, as we're doing this, one size does not fit all because students are in different places developmentally. So a 7th grader isn't going to sit through a small group the same way a 12th grader would. An 8th grader isn't going to be caring about the same things as an 11th grader would. And so, like Jesus does for us, we have to be willing to meet students where they're at developmentally so that we can be great youth pastors to them. And so what this section does is just highlight just a bit about each grade and maybe where they are at and some of the questions they're asking. And so I would encourage you after this video is over to look through your particular grade and see where your students might be at. If you are on like a worship team leader or something like that, make sure you check out all of this in this section so that you get a sense of where all of your students are at. But in 7th grade, what we're doing is kind of just tilling the soil on page 9. Before we can plant seeds, before we can water it with the gospel, right? We gotta till the soil. We've got to till the relational soil. We are laying the groundwork in 7th grade for the relationship that will last for years to come. So if you're a 7th grade leader, what I want you just to expect is that this is going to be a heavy relational year. The goal is to have students know you and to trust you, and so that as they get older, they can start to rely on you. What we want to do is at the bottom of that section, we want to initiate and build relationships with students. We want to get to know their parents. We want to leverage shared experiences to bring the group together. When a student is coming up from 6th grade into 7th grade, they're a free agent a lot of times as far as friend groups, as far as small group, and your life group has this chance to really start coming together and to be a group, which is why 7th grade leaders need to take a little bit of extra effort to be bringing that group together using shared experiences. Maybe go to Boomers, maybe go hiking, maybe do something like that, but bring that group together as a friend group so that we can start to establish a great community of believers together in 7th grade. Now, number 4 says communicate how much you like your students. And the reason that is because the main question a 7th grader is asking, they'll never ask you, but they'll think it in their head. The main question they're asking their leaders is, do you like me? Do you like me for who I am? Or do I have to put on a show? Do I have to put on a face? And so as leaders, what we've got to do is communicate often, not just with our words, but with our actions, by taking an interest in them, by showing up to maybe what they're doing at their school, to you all know how to have a healthy relationship with someone, right? And so we've got to answer that question, do you like me, with a resounding yes, not only by our words, but by our actions. 8th grade, planting seeds, right? So the ground is tilled in 7th grade, and in 8th grade is where we start planting these seeds. 8th graders are going to start really taking an interest in discovering who they are, and they're going to be wondering, who am I as compared to others? You can read on more about that. But what they're going to be asking their leaders without ever asking you is, do you like me even if I'm different? So they'll start to push the boundaries of what is acceptable and what's not acceptable, right? You'll see this sometimes in rebellious behavior. You'll see this sometimes in, students kind of like to do their own thing. They'll kind of push back on authority a little bit. And they're wondering, do you like me even if I'm different? And as leaders, of course, we have to answer that with a resounding yes, because Jesus loves us, you and me, even if we're different, right? So how to engage is to continue employ those tactics from 7th grade, but be willing to be flexible based on developmental needs. So the big four, what an 8th grade leader should be doing is take advantage of relatively open schedules to invest in relationships outside of church walls. This means the time that you invest off campus is going to be so much more impactful than the time you invest here on campus. Number 2, reach out to parents twice this year to ask how you can be supportive to them, because if they're starting to push the boundaries here, you can guarantee they're going to be pushing the boundaries at home. So call up parents, use the Lead app to get that information, to see how you can be supportive to them. Number 3, leverage shared experiences to bring this group together as a friend group. And number 4, communicate often how much you like your students. 9th grade, the ground is tilled, the seeds are planted, it's time to start watering. It's a hybrid between 8th and 10th grade. There's a lot of similar identity questions and struggles. But here's the thing, the students in 9th grade are going to start being able to sniff out whether you're genuine or not, whether you actually care about them, or whether this student ministry is just an obligation that you're trying to fill. This is also the year that you will begin to see a loose correlation between leader engagement and group attendance. So if a leader is engaged with students, and if the students in your life group believe that you genuinely like them and want to be a part of their lives, and that you're invested with them outside of church, you will see your group continue to grow and thrive. If you don't communicate those things, or if they get the sense you're ingenuine, you're going to start to see the numbers of your group start to dwindle. Now, that's not true all of the time. Like I said, this is a loose correlation, but this is definitely true a lot of the time. And so my question would be, if you're a 9th grade leader or older and your group is dwindling, how engaged are you outside of the walls of church? Do students believe you genuinely like them, or do you only see them on Wednesday nights or Sunday mornings? Hard questions, and like I said, it's a loose correlation. It's not true of every group all the time, but the correlation is starting to be there. The next question that they're asking is, do you genuinely like me? Do you genuinely like me, right? So it's not just do you like me, but are you for real when you say that you like me? How to water the ground with students is to be genuine. Make sure you have contact info for all the students in your sphere of influence. Invite them to things. Number 3, connect outside of church walls. And number 4, no surprises. Let your students know if and when you won't be around. So if you're a life group leader and you can't be there that Wednesday, this is the year to start letting your students know that, hey, I'm not going to be there tonight, sorry, because that helps them understand that you're going to genuinely miss them and genuinely want to be with them, but you just can't make it there tonight. If you just don't show up with no communication, over time, that starts to be received as, does this leader really care about whether I'm here or not, right? 10th and 11th grade, sun, water, and time equals growth. So tilled and planted and water, and now we just need sun, water, and time. This is where you'll start to see schedules becoming more busy, college classes become part of the high school curriculum. This is where, like adults, like little adults, these students need to be connected to, number 1, community, and number 2, a sense of purpose in order to actually thrive in their faith. They're going to be asking you, they don't really care as much anymore if you like them, that groundwork has already been set, but they're going to be asking of you, are you genuine? Not do you genuinely like me? It starts to become more about you. Are you genuine? Are you the real deal? And to engage them, practice what you preach. If you want students to be involved in church, you've got to be involved in church. If you want them to serve, you've got to be serving. If you want them to pray, you've got to pray. If you want them to bring their Bibles, you've got to bring your Bible. We can't just say we value something, we need to show it by our actions. So the big 4 is giving students opportunity to grow. Number 1, do everything you can to connect your 10th or 11th grader to a sense of community and a sense of purpose. Number 2, serve alongside your students at FCC or out in the community. Number 3, practice what you preach. And number 4, be yourself. And the last one, 11th and 12th grade, this is where we'll close this video. I know this is getting long. This is where after the tilling and the watering and the blah, 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 now we start to see fruit, right? And we can see fruit all throughout the process. We can see fruit happening all the time, but this is where we really start to see it in 11th and 12th grade. And I guarantee you, about halfway through students' junior year, if not a little bit before, you'll start to see a marked difference in student engagement. Groups become smaller. Many students show up either when they're just invited to show up or if they have a purpose to fulfill. Rest assured at this point, you and your leadership is likely not the issue if the group starts to dwindle, unless you're a checked out leader, and then you might actually be the issue. College prep and applications, jobs happen, licenses, varsity sports, right? And youth group doesn't offer the same challenge that it once did, unless this age group is given opportunities to serve and lead. And it's been often said, if seniors are not leading in our church, they will be leaving our church. And what they want to know is, how can I give back? How can I leave a legacy? The way we're going to challenge students is not by continuing to have them just play the games, but to lead the games, to think of the games, to be putting on the games, right? They want to be involved. They want to have a purpose. They want to have a role to play. They want to be the church. And they're asking of leaders, are you my friend, right? Not just do you like me, not just are you genuine, but are you actually my friend? Like, can I count on you as a person? They're not looking for leaders anymore. They're looking for mentors and friends. Connecting one-on-one over coffee and food goes a long way. Challenge goes a long way. Our students as juniors and seniors are taking Hancock classes, right? And so they want the challenge. They're ready for the challenge. And what a leader should do for a junior or senior is to give students opportunities to bear fruit and leave a legacy. Number one, model humility. Fight back against the pride and superior attitude that being an upperclassman brings. Number two, keep big questions of faith in front of them. Focus on apologetics, theology, right? Push back on what they believe. Challenge them. Number three, connect outside of church walls in a one-on-one setting or in a group setting. And number four, keep students challenged and order support during challenge. The less challenge they have, the less engagement you'll see. So that was a fire hose, but make sure you go back and look at your actual grade and developmental difference and kind of see where they're at. At the end of the day, each grade is different, and sometimes within the grade, even the genders can be different in what they're looking for. And so if you have any questions, talk more about this, but make sure you study this a little bit and have an idea of who your students are. The big idea is students' needs are constantly changing, so pay attention. Their identity is up for grabs, so connect intentionally. And number four, connect students to genuine community and grander purpose. I promise videos get shorter from here on out. Thanks for hanging in. Check out the questions below, and then we'll see you for video 4.